Hi class, my name is Lux Darkbloom and I'm your librarian. The purpose of this video is to show you all how to access academic resources from the Marriott Library. I have my contact information here, so please reach out to me if you have any questions or you get stuck doing your research in some spot where you're not sure how to proceed. Um, Wherever you're at in the research process, please feel free to reach out for me to help. Today, I'm going to be talking about a few library resources, and I apologize if you can hear a very upset cat in the background because my cat would love to be on top of this computer that I'm on. Anyhow, this is what we're covering today. We've got the library catalog, databases, and a couple of free library services. So, if you want to follow along with me on your own computer, let's go to lib.utah.edu. And this is the library's main website. This is where you're going to find stuff like the library catalog, the library databases, information about services, and stuff related to research. So we're going to be using a couple of these places today. In order to have off-campus access, be sure to click this off-campus access button in the upper right-hand corner, and that will prompt you to log in with your university ID and password. Otherwise, you can reach out to us here at the Marriott Library's main number, 801-581-8558, or in the upper left-hand corner, whatever time of day it is, you can talk to a librarian. This is our button for 24/7 chat. So let's get into the library catalog. I'm going to do a search here for the phrase missing and murdered Indigenous. And because we are looking for both women and people, I'm just going to leave this phrase as is, where it's surrounded by quotation marks. And this cues the library's catalog to search for only those words in that exact order, not missing in the first paragraph and Indigenous 20 pages in. So here I've put in my keywords. I can add some other keywords just to narrow the scope of my research a bit, and it doesn't matter if things are capitalized or not. From here, I'm going to be sure to select Use Search Catalog. The default is everything, unfortunately, which searches the whole library's website, but we want Use Search Catalog. Then I'll click this little magnifying glass, and these are our search results. So at the top of the page, you'll notice I have 38 results. That's a very solid number of results, enough that I can pick and choose and select the best ones, and also not so many that I don't want to look at all of the titles and abstracts. So looking through here, you'll see articles, whether it is like this one, a journal article versus a newspaper article. It's going to be highlighted right above the title of the text, or web resources, reports. All of these are going to be listed in the right-hand column under resource type with a number in parentheses to the right that indicates how many of those items you can expect to find. This list is organized by relevance, but you can organize it by the date, either in chronological order or reverse chronological order. You can also organize it by titles or author. But here, I'm going to take a look at this first article. We're going to pretend that this is an ideal article for my research. So I'm going to kind of pull this citation information apart from this record that we've got here. So this first title in red is the title of the article. Below that, you've got authors' names right here. And it looks like this is the place where the article was published. However, because we are going to be accessing it online, that's not really critical information for our citations. But then we also have the journal title that the article originates in, date of publication, volume, issue number, and then page numbers. And then a little excerpt from the context that shows you your keywords highlighted. So I can view this online here. And this will open up some tabs for me. All of these this will open a tab for me, and all these links refer to databases. So I can access the article through any of these, or I can look for an open access version. I'm just going to click the first one for ease of access here, and this will give us the full text of the article. You can see there's a PDF that we can download. There are some tools that we can use. Usually this has to do with creating citations, and we can send this article to ourselves. So pretty accessible, I hope. I'm going to close this tab and return us to our results list. A couple of things I want to point out. In the right-hand column here, this is our menu for helping you to refine your search results. So it identifies what format they're in, if they're full text, peer-reviewed, open access, or if they're physical copies, that would be listed here too. Resource types tells you the format you can expect to see that information presented. And this one is a little bit counterintuitive, where location refers to databases for all of these. And generally at the bottom, if there is a physical location, this is where you would find it. Below that, we've got subject headings that if you aren't getting enough results, we can click any of these to expand our results list. So these come from the Library of Congress, and some of these headings are pretty problematic. So it's something to keep in mind, and something that our library is also keeping in mind for our catalog in the future. Anyway, below this, we've got the publication date range. If I have access to any items that are in languages that are not in English, those will be listed here. And yeah, the rest is fairly unmysterious. So that is for the library catalog. Now, if I go back to the library's main page, lib.utah.edu, I can also go to the databases. And while the library catalog up here, this USearch, while this catalog does interact with about maybe 15 to 20 of our databases, this tab here will take us to a portal to all 400 or so databases we subscribe to. So we can select databases by their title, if it begins with a number even, or by subject using these drop-down menus here. All of these subjects refer to fields of study or disciplines on campus. For example, here's a list of databases that are related to ethnic studies. And we are very likely to see a broad swath of databases because ethnic studies is an interdisciplinary field of study. So at the top of the page here, we've got a recommended database, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what we can expect when we see the layout here, whether we're using this menu or this one. We will always wind up with a list of alphabetically organized databases. So the title in red that we see here, and also here and further below, refers to the title of the database. This little blurb, and they usually don't get much longer than this, gives us information about what we can expect to find in this database. So Ethnic News Watch covers stuff like newspapers, magazines, and journals of the ethnic and minority press. We also have in this database a full text collection of more than 300 publications for national and regional coverage. So that's an awful lot of information. The years of coverage are going to be listed above the blurb, and if there's any access to how many users we can have simultaneously, that'll be listed here. In this case, there's no limit. We can have an unlimited number of simultaneous users. So I'm going to click on the title of this database, and I'm going to do a search. One of the things you can search for as you are thinking about how you will capture your research topic as you design your visitor pamphlet and the design of the monument that you'll be envisioning. Think about your search terms or the words that you use to search for information, whether it's in a database, a library catalog, or even stuff like Google Scholar. Let's actually go there while we're at it. I love Google Scholar. So I'm going to teach you something about this in just a moment. Anyway, here I can search for words that capture my topic. I can search for names of specific individuals or organizations. So for example, I got one result looking for the name of a murder victim in this database. I can also look for things like names of legislation. So for example, let's see, the Not Invisible Act. And again, the reason why I put quotation marks around these phrases is because I want to search for those words in that exact order. So that means you don't have to put quotation marks around individual words, only two or more words if you're concerned that they stay in that order. Anyway, so I've typed in the name of a piece of legislation here. And while this is mostly a news database where, like the blurb mentioned, we're looking at national, regional news, we also get a few more different source types. So where in our previous location, which was the library catalog, we could search in the right-hand margin for a refinements menu. In this case, it's in the left-hand margin. So again, we're organized by relevance. We can limit to full text or peer-reviewed stuff, though I would recommend against it. You're going to find a lot of quality stuff that doesn't fall under full text. It may be scholarly, though not peer-reviewed, so be sure to check in with Dr. Archuleta to make sure that you are looking at the types of sources that she would like you to refer to for your project. Anyhow, going on. Under source type, we're going to see things like scholarly journals. Let me pull this up. Trade journals, meaning like professional publications, magazines, which are more consumer, and newspapers. And we can either include or exclude any of those, which is really cool. I'm going to take a look at this one scholarly journal article, which happens to be right here. And just like in the catalog, a little icon and descriptor to tell you what type of source you're looking at. So again, we've got, looking at this one, we've got the title of the article, we've got the author of the article, we have the title of the publication, where it's published, and then the volume and issue numbers right here, followed by the page numbers. And then again, we've got a little excerpt of the article with our keywords highlighted in the context. So I can click on it, get a little bit more information, like I can see the whole abstract. This will be useful for helping me to decide whether I want to pursue this article or not. If I do, I can download a PDF here. This database gives me the option to listen to the article, and this is really cool. Here's another place to download it. you can also have a citation generated for you in one of these styles. They're an awful lot. So be sure to find out which style or styles are approved for this project if you do need to submit a bibliography of your sources. And this is where you would just copy stuff, paste it into your bibliography, or you can export it to any of these citation and bibliographic managers. Or you can print it, or you can email it to yourself. Anyway, so that's basically how you search a database. I do want to point out that just like in the library catalog, you can restrict dates of coverage. So if I only wanted to look at, say, 2021 to 2023, I'll go from 20 results to 11. So this is just a way that we can, using this menu, we can either expand, i.e. increase our results numbers, or we can decrease them. So now I'm going to head back to Google Scholar because there's one thing I want to show you here. The library offers this service where it's also free, and it's really truly courtesy of Google, where we can sync up the library's electronic holdings, some of them, with Google Scholar. So if I go to scholar.google.com and then I click this little like 3-line icon in the upper left corner, I can get to my settings, and from here I will click on library links. In the search box, I'll type University of Utah and hit search, and this will give me a list here of all of the universities here that have both University in Utah in the title. It's also by default selected Open World Cat, which is just kind of a nice addition to have there. Open World Cat is a catalog of all of the open access public library catalogs in the world. So kind of helpful. Anyway, be sure to select University of Utah, get it at UU, and then hit save. What this will do, if I type in the Not Invisible Act, this will give me my regular list of Google results, in the body of the page. Off to the right side here, these links come from the library catalog or the library databases. So if ever you have the experience of like clicking on one of these big links and it takes you to, let's see how this goes, it might take you to the full text of the article or chapter or whatever it is that you're interested in, or sometimes it blocks us and says, wait, you have to log in to this specific database, or you can pay $65 to read this article. But we don't want you to pay for any of the information that you use to do your research. You already pay enough in student fees. So these links to the right will take you to a full PDF, which is really, really helpful. And as we know, Google's search engine is so powerful and far more powerful and flexible than, say, the library catalog search engine. Both are great, and ideally, this is what it looks like when I'm doing research. I'll have a tab for the databases open, a tab for the library catalog here, and then a tab for Google Scholar. Closing this out and then returning to the main library page. A couple things I want to talk about. Under the Services tab, if you go to the button at the bottom that says All Services, this will give you a link to all of the services that are offered by the Marriott Library, and the vast majority of these are free services. Two that I want to point out are interlibrary loan, right here, and suggest a purchase. So I'm going to visit each of these really quickly to show you what they look like. Interlibrary loan, I can get to through that tab, or if I go to the library's main page, there's also a button for it here. Takes me to the same place though. Anyway, when you're prompted to log in, use your university ID and password. I've already logged in, so this is the landing page. You'll notice at the top of the page here, these are all the different types of things that I can request. So when you're doing research, if you're looking for a piece of information in any of these formats or others, and you can't find it, the library doesn't have it, the databases don't have it, the whole internet doesn't have it, what we can do through interlibrary loan, or ILL, is we can borrow it on your behalf from another library and get that information directly to you for free. So let's pretend I want to request an article. I'd click article here. I would fill out all of these required fields. And then at the bottom of the page, it asks me a very simple question. Will I accept this item in a language other than English? The default selection is yes. And if that's the case, be sure that you use this notes field to tell us which language or languages you are happy to receive the item in. Otherwise, just select no, and then you'll submit your request, and it will process. It will take a little bit of time, but for a lot of electronic materials, which you will receive here, you'll get an email saying, please log in to Interlibrary Loan, this spot. And remember, there's a button to it right on the main page. You'll log in here and you will find your article under electronically received articles. This will just be like a link that you can click on with several actions. You can print it and download it. And we actually don't track how many times you do that sort of thing. So please feel free to print and download it as many times as you'd like. Do whatever you would like to with the article, or other material. The turnaround time will be pretty quick for an article or other electronic items. Sometimes as quick as like under an hour. Sometimes it's a couple of days. It really depends on what the item is, where it's coming from, and how busy the library is, honestly. For example, during finals week, interlibrary loan might be a busier service than this week in the semester. The other thing that you can do is you can request physical items, and these will be recorded here under checked out items. For physical materials, the checkout time from our library for most books is 120 days or a semester. For items we borrow from other libraries through interlibrary loan, that's going to vary depending on where we're borrowing it from, but it's probably going to be less than 120 days, more like 30 or so. So this is one way that you can get a material that if you can't find it anywhere else, we can request it for you. The other thing that you can do on the services tab, so here's interlibrary loan. Just for a quick reminder, we can also get it here under all services. Here's the full list of all the services we offer again, and conveniently in alphabetical order. Here's interlibrary loan. We're going to keep scrolling though until we get to, we're almost there, suggest a purchase. And this is a really great free service where if we don't have a book or an art, a journal or a film or a piece of music that you want, we can order that on your behalf for free. So you'll go to this page. It will ask you to select your university affiliation, and you're very likely going to write student. Here are the different types of media you can request, and you'll just fill out this very simple form. One thing I want to mention, while there are different university affiliations, these are all weighted equally. So it doesn't matter whether you are a student, staff or faculty member, these are going to be responded to in the order that they are received. So nobody carries more weight than anybody else. I would fill out all these required fields, the ones that have little stars by them. And then this is an interesting question here. If you would like to get this information you're requesting sooner rather than later, if you're in a hurry, please do select that it's a rush request. This will give you a quicker turnaround time, usually about 2 weeks compared to 4 weeks, though sometimes items come in sooner than 2 weeks. And then if you would like, we will notify you when the item is available, whether it's a rush request or not. And if you select yes on this option, what happens is we'll receive the item, we'll process it, and we will check it out to you before anybody else can have that access to the same item. So you'll be notified when it's available and you can come and pick it up from the library. Or if you're not available, one last service. So I'm going to the services tab. This one doesn't have anything to do with ordering items, but it's tangentially related. We have a pull service that I'd like to show y'all. If I could remember. Here we go. There it is. We have a pull and delivery service. So this means that you can place requests online through our catalog, have them pulled for you and held at the library. Either in the, you would find them on the first floor of the library at the west entrance in a group of cubbies, and it will be organized by, I want to say last name of the patron, or last initial, I apologize, as a patron. Anyway, you'll see it there right beside the information desk, or even cooler, you can set up a request for home delivery. So this is for most physical materials at the library, including equipment. So that means laptops, iPads, chargers, calculators, etc., and interlibrary loan items, and just anything you see in the catalog that's not electronic. You can set up a home delivery request. Be sure to use the address that you're actually at, and then hit submit when you're done. So it should be fairly straightforward. If you run into any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There are a couple ways you can get a hold of me if you don't remember right off the top of your head my email address from earlier in the video, but I would definitely recommend copying that down. You can also go to the research tab and select subject specialists. My name is Lux, so you can search for me this way, or if you want to browse, you can actually search for, I'm just going to reload this, any librarian based on their subject, specialty, their name, whatever. This will tell you who you're looking at, what our areas of expertise are, and which library we belong to. There are 3 libraries on campus. There's my library, the main library, which is the J. Willard Marriott Library. There's the Eccles Health Sciences Library on upper campus, and there's also the Faust Law Library. I should mention we do have a very small music library as well called the McCabe Music Library. And you will have access to all these librarians, and it's our job to support you in accomplishing your goals related to research or otherwise while you're on campus. Gosh, this is a long list of librarians. So please, please, please feel free to reach out to me at lux.darkbloom@utah.edu, or you can contact me by phone. I'm happy to meet with you in person, via email, over Zoom, whatever works best for you. And yeah, I hope that your projects go really well. I'm very excited to see what you come up with. And if you have any questions, please contact me or your professor. Thank you.